The sea lies restless, its horizon veiled by haze, but in that haze, history bends. What if the mightiest battleship of America, the USS Iowa, crossed paths not only with Italy's pride, the battleship Littorio, but also with her escort, the carrier Aquila, Rome's great experiment to project power across the waves? It is 1943, the war burning across continents. Italy, battered but not yet broken, seeks to hold its claim over the Mediterranean. Mussolini dreams of Mare Nostrum restored, and to make it real, the Regia Marina commits everything it has. Littorio, sleek and deadly, leads the line. But this time, she is not alone. Aquila, Italy's fledgling carrier, sails at her side, her deck bristling with fighters and dive bombers. Together, they represent a new kind of threat. Old-world battleship tradition fused with the modern reach of naval aviation. Across the sea, the Iowa prowls. A titan of American steel, she is built not to match rivals, but to eclipse them. Faster than any battleship alive, armed with radar and 9 monstrous 16-inch guns. She is the symbol of an America that builds without limit, a juggernaut unleashed upon the world. Her mission is to hunt, to deny the Axis the sea lanes, to prove that no fleet can stand against American industry. And now, fate sets the stage. Iowa's scouts report smoke on the horizon. At first, just another contact, but then the outlines form. A battleship, massive, unmistakable, and beside her a carrier, an unexpected shadow with teeth. For a moment, Iowa's bridge falls silent. Not one foe, but two. A duel has become a gauntlet. On Littorio's deck, sailors cheer as Aquila's aircraft launch into the air, their engines screaming. The Mediterranean sky fills with specks of silver and green, Italian fighters rising like hawks while bombers form into attack groups. This is not the duel Iowa expected. She is no stranger to aircraft, but facing them in the heart of the Mediterranean, without her own carrier support, is a challenge even a titan must fear. The Americans know they must act fast. Iowa cannot allow Aquila's squadrons to strike unchecked. Orders fly across her decks, anti-aircraft batteries load, radars sweep, men prepare to fire at both sky and sea. The great ship steadies her course, her turrets locked on Littorio, but her eyes glancing upward to the new threat above. For Littorio, the advantage is clear. While Iowa focuses on her, Aquila's bombers can dart in from above, testing the Titan's armor, probing for weakness. It is a deadly dance, combining the grace of aviation with the brute force of naval guns. Together, they might just succeed where neither could alone. And so it begins. Iowa fires first. Her salvo roars, thunder rolling across the water as her 16-inch guns send mountains of steel into the sky. Seconds later, the sea around Littorio erupts in geysers, water rising like walls around her hull. The Italian battleship answers, her 15-inch guns flashing, her salvos slicing the horizon. But above it all, Aquila's planes dive. Engines howl as bombs fall, black specks against the sun. Iowa's anti-aircraft guns blaze, her decks erupting with tracers, the sky lit by bursts of fire. Some planes fall, burning, spiraling into the sea. Others press on. Explosions rock Iowa's deck as bombs detonate near her stern, throwing columns of spray across her armor. The duel is no longer simple. It is layered, chaotic. A storm of steel and fire both above and below. And in that storm, history quivers. Because this is no longer just Iowa against Littorio. It is Iowa against the vision of Italy reborn, a fleet that dares to blend the old and the new. Battleship and carrier, claw and talon, against one American titan. The fate of this clash will not be decided by guns alone. It will be decided by endurance, by nerve, by who can adapt in the chaos of a war that is already leaving the age of battleships behind. The Mediterranean has become an arena of thunder, and the duel of titans is now a trial of survival. The horizon blazes with chaos. Iowa surges forward, her great engines churning the sea into white fury, her turrets belching fire with mechanical precision. Littorio answers, her 15-inch guns roaring, the blasts echoing across the Mediterranean like ancient thunder. Between them, shells crash into the sea, towering geysers drenching their decks. But the true danger does not come from the water, it comes from the sky. Aquila's squadrons dive like falcons. The Italian carrier has unleashed her strike, and now Iowa must fight a duel on two fronts. Her radar tracks Littorio, guiding her salvos with cold accuracy, but her eyes are torn toward the heavens. Dive bombers shriek downward, the sun glinting off their wings as they drop their payloads. Iowa's anti-aircraft batteries explode into life, a wall of fire and smoke filling the sky. Tracers streak upward, shells burst in black clouds. Some planes vanish in flames, their pilots plunging into the sea. Others press on, releasing bombs that whistle through the air before exploding across Iowa's deck. One detonation rocks her aft. Steel plates buckle, men are thrown to the deck. Fire bursts from ruptured fuel lines. Iowa staggers, but she does not falter. Damaged crews rush to smother the flames, hands blistering, eyes streaming with smoke. Above them, another wave circles, preparing to strike again. On Littorio, the crew cheers as they see smoke rise from the American Titan. The Italian flagship surges closer, cutting through the sea like a predator scenting blood. Her gunners work with ferocious speed, shells hammering the horizon, and for a moment, it feels as though Iowa might be trapped, pinned by Littorio's guns, harried by Aquila's bombers, forced into a battle no battleship was ever designed to fight alone. But Iowa is not ordinary. Her captain knows he cannot let the Italians dictate the fight. He orders evasive maneuvers, swinging her massive hull with shocking speed, her guns steady even as she veers. Salvos roar out, and this time one finds its mark. A shell smashes into Littorio's forward deck, blowing apart railings and gun emplacements, sending smoke and flame roaring skyward. Italian sailors fall, blood and fire streaking the once proud deck. Still, Littorio presses on. Above, Aquila's second wave strikes. Torpedo bombers skim the waves, their engines screaming as they release their deadly fish. Iowa turns hard, her screws churning white water as she tries to evade. Explosions erupt close by, walls of spray battering her hull. One torpedo slams home, striking near her stern. The explosion rocks her, sending shockwaves through her steel bones. The deck shudders, alarms wail, men cry out. Iowa lists slightly, but her watertight doors slam shut, her pumps roar to life. She will not go down so easily. The crew feels the weight of history on their shoulders. They know they are no longer fighting just a battleship, but the full force of Italy's desperate gamble, battleship and carrier together. Yet fear does not crush them, it hardens them. They reload, they fight, they endure. And on Littorio's bridge, pride battles doubt. The American giant bleeds, but she will not yield. Iowa is faster, her guns deadlier, her crew unshaken even under fire from above. The Italians know the duel is balanced on a knife's edge. If Aquila's planes can land a decisive blow, Littorio may strike the killing shot. If not, Iowa's relentless accuracy will grind them down. The Mediterranean roars, steel crashes, fire falls from the sky, and two titans circle in a storm of war. But beneath it all lies the deeper question. Is this the future of naval war? The battleship and carrier in tandem, claw and talon striking as one? Or will even that prove too little against the sheer might of America's machines? As the second wave withdraws and Iowa steadies once more, smoke pouring from her wounds, both sides know the next exchange may decide everything. The battle is no longer a test of power alone. It is a trial of survival, a clash of eras, and the sea itself holds its breath. The horizon is a storm of fire and smoke. Iowa presses on, her deck scarred, her hull bleeding oil, but her guns remain alive. Littorio claws forward, elegant yet battered, her white and gray hull blackened with fire. Above them, the sky is alive with the drone of engines as Aquila's planes circle, searching for another chance to strike. The American crew feels the weight of two enemies pressing in. The great ship has fought battleships before, but never with the sky itself filled with predators. Anti-aircraft gunners man their posts with grim resolve, eyes straining against the glare of the sun. The next wave is already coming. Bombers dive, sirens wailing, their shadows flashing across Iowa's deck. The sky erupts as her AA guns open fire, tracers stitching upward, explosions rocking the heavens. One bomber takes a direct hit, disintegrating midair. Another spirals down in flames, slamming into the sea with a scream, but others slip through. A bomb smashes into Iowa's aft deck, blasting open steel plating, fire tearing through compartments. Men are flung into the air, bodies broken, cries drowned by the thunder of the blast. The ship staggers, yet she does not break. Damaged crews race into the inferno, hoses spitting foam, axes chopping through twisted steel. Smoke chokes the air, but the gunners reload, the radar sweeps, and once more her turrets thunder. Her salvo arcs high, guided by the invisible hand of radar. Seconds later, it finds Littorio again. A shell punches into her midsection, tearing through armor and detonating deep inside. The blast rips compartments apart, flooding her with fire and smoke. Italian sailors scramble, some dragging wounded comrades, others manning hoses with blistered hands. But the ship still fights. Her remaining turrets roar, shells hammering across the sea toward the American giant. One lands close. Too close. A 15-inch shell slams into Iowa's forward deck, exploding near her first turret. The shockwave rattles through the ship, shattering glass, ripping apart anti-aircraft guns, killing dozens in an instant. For a moment, the bridge is shrouded in smoke. Men cough, bloodied, yet still at their posts. The ship holds. Above them, Aquila's torpedo planes skim low, their engines growling as they release their deadly cargo. Iowa turns hard, churning white water, her stern swinging wide. Torpedoes streak by, exploding in massive geysers. One slams home amidships. The blast lifts the giant, tearing open her side, flooding compartments. Alarms scream, bulkheads groan. Iowa lists dangerously for a moment, men clutching rails as water pours in. But the watertight doors slam shut, the pumps roar, and the ship claws herself upright. She refuses to die. On Littorio's bridge, hope flickers. The American giant is wounded, her decks ablaze, her crew bloodied. The carrier's planes have struck, the battleship's guns have bitten deep. Perhaps, just perhaps, this is the moment to finish her. Yet doubt gnaws as well. Iowa's salvos are relentless, her radar unblinking, her gunners tireless. Every minute the Italians fight, they bleed. And bleed they do. Iowa's next salvo crashes down, one shell piercing Littorio's forward turret. The explosion turns steel into shrapnel, men into shadows. Flames burst skyward, a turret silenced forever. The Italian giant screams, smoke pouring from her wounds. Still, she pushes forward, her captain refusing to yield, his voice hoarse with shouted orders. But the sky tells another story. Aquila's squadrons are thinning. Too many planes have been shot down, too many crews lost. Her deck crews scramble to launch the last reserves, men racing across wooden planks stained with oil and fire. They know this is the decisive hour. For Iowa, there is no retreat. Her crew steels itself, faces blackened with soot, hands shaking with exhaustion. They fight on, each man knowing the battle may end with them buried beneath the waves, and yet they endure, because endurance is their only weapon now. The clash tightens. The range closes to 15,000 yards. Iowa and Littorio trade blows, shells crashing, fires raging, while above them the last of Aquila's planes dive for glory. This is no longer just a duel. It is an apocalypse of steel, sky, and sea. And within it, history balances on a knife's edge. The Mediterranean boils with fury. Smoke and fire cover the horizon, the sky scarred by the trails of falling planes, the sea littered with wreckage. Iowa presses forward like a wounded predator, her hull torn, her decks ablaze, yet her guns thunder on with ruthless rhythm. Littorio, scarred and listing, still claws at her foe. Her once elegant lines are broken, her forward turret silent, her decks charred and soaked with blood. Yet her captain refuses to strike colors. Every salvo is ordered with the same defiance, every shell fired with the desperation of a nation fighting not for victory, but for immortality. Above them, Aquila throws her last hand. Her remaining planes roar skyward, their engines screaming as they dive in one final wave. Bombs whistle downward, torpedoes streak across the sea, all aimed at the American Titan. Iowa's anti-aircraft batteries blaze with desperate intensity, tracers lacing the sky, shells bursting in black clouds. The heavens are a storm of fire. One bomber breaks through. Its payload slams into Iowa's forward deck, ripping open steel, fire blossoming near her second turret. Men are hurled from their posts, smoke choking the air. Another torpedo strikes near her stern, the explosion heaving her upward, water flooding compartments. The ship groans, her massive frame shuddering under the punishment. For a moment it seems she might falter, might roll, might join the countless warships claimed by the deep. But Iowa endures. Her pumps scream, her crew fights like demons, sealing compartments, dragging wounded comrades from the flames. Her radar still whispers, her gunners reload. And then once more she answers. Her salvo crashes down on Littorio with the force of a hammer. One shell punches through her midsection, detonating in the magazines. The explosion is apocalyptic. Fire erupts from her belly, her superstructure shredded, her decks torn apart. The proud Italian battleship lurches violently, smoke and flame consuming her. Men leap into the sea as she lists heavily to port, her wounds fatal. Still, her aft turret fires one last defiant salvo, shells splashing harmlessly near Iowa before the guns fall silent forever. Littorio is dying. Her captain, standing firm on her bridge, salutes his men as the ship groans and rolls. With a final shudder, Italy's giant tips, her bow rising skyward before plunging beneath the waves. The sea swallows her in a roar of steam and oil. But the battle is not finished. Aquila, though nearly empty of planes, still sails. Her crew watches in horror as Littorio vanishes, yet their commander knows what must be done. The carrier turns, racing to escape, her flight deck scarred, her hangars empty. She has played her part, and now survival is all that remains. Iowa turns her fury upon her. Her turrets swivel, the barrels yawning wide. A single salvo arcs across the sky, landing square upon Aquila's deck. The explosion rips through her wooden planks, fire tearing through her hangars, igniting fuel stores. A second salvo follows, shells smashing her sides, tearing her into ruin. Within minutes, Aquila is aflame from bow to stern, her crew abandoning ship as the inferno spreads unchecked. With a final, wrenching groan, she capsizes, vanishing into the smoke-stained waves. Silence descends. The storm is over. Iowa floats alone amid the wreckage, her decks shattered, her crew bloodied, her flag still flying. She has triumphed, but the cost is etched in every scar. Dozens lie dead, hundreds wounded, and the great ship herself limps forward, wounded yet unbroken. The duel has ended not as a clean victory, but as a pyre of fire and steel. Littorio lies entombed beneath the sea, Aquila with her. Iowa remains, the last titan standing, but forever changed. The Mediterranean, ancient witness to empires, has seen many battles, yet none like this. The clash of a battleship and a carrier against a single titan, a vision of the old world clawing against the new. And now the sea is quiet, but the echoes remain.